My dear people of Southern Cameroons, today is Monday. This is the 16th of November, the year 2020. I'm coming today for us to have a very succinct, frank, and important discussion regarding what the Canadian High Commissioner to Yaoundé said in the columns of the Guardian Post newspaper. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, I took time and read out everything he said with a lot of attention. The reason I did and took time again to go over it line after line and sometimes word after word is because I wanted to be very certain, very sure that what I'm coming to be talking about is exactly what was intended. Is exactly what we need to know from that message. I'm sure we must have noticed that this is already a pattern on the international scene. And I'm convinced that a lot of us should not be surprised that we are hearing this kind of language more and more. We had the opportunity some time ago to hear the U.S. Undersecretary of State or the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs at the U.S. State Department, Mr. Tibor Nagy, say that, independence was quite unrealistic. We have heard the Canadian High Commissioner to Yaoundé now say the same thing. There are others who have said it in other covert manners. Sometimes we've even had some of us cast aspersions on Ambassador Cohen because he said at some point that perhaps the most realistic thing to do is to go in for federalism. But there was also a time that he said if La République didn't act very fast to secure federalism, they will find themselves graduating into Ambazonia. I like to point out that all these talks and all of those things, to me, are words of encouragement. Words of encouragement because the international community is simply drawing our attention to the fact that we have been speaking, but we have not spoken enough. Yes, they're saying we have been speaking, but we have not spoken in such a sound way that the world will understand that the only thing that will bring settlement between the two Cameroons is self-determination, outright independence for the people of the Southern Cameroons, for the people of Ambazonia. There was a time when they started considering that perhaps that kind of talk would make sense. But then we lost our pedals somewhere along the line. In my mind, always, as I battle with my own personal life's struggles, the one thing that keeps me going is adversity. The one thing that keeps me going will have to do with challenges. Will be when people tell me it is impossible. When they tell me it is impossible, I do everything to prove to them that the word impossible only exists in the dictionary of fools. I picked that leaf from Napoleon Bonaparte. He said the word impossible only exists in the dictionary of fools. So, my dear people of the Southern Cameroons, when I read what he said, took my time and analyzed, I came once more to the simple conclusion that they are telling us if you intend the world to take you seriously, to understand that you need independence, then do something different from what you are doing now. Do things differently from the way we are seeing now. Re-strategize, think all over again, convince us better, because what you are doing now appears not to be good enough. That is the angle from which I see these whole things. I don't see them as discouragement. Because each time they say these things, I take us back to what was said way back in 1961, at that very time when the fate of our people was being rigged. This is what Dag Hamas just said. And a lot of us have it. It's circulating on our social media forums everywhere. He said in 1961, uniting the Southern Cameroons to the Cameroon Republic is like forcing a balloon under the sea. One day it will come out. It is coming out. They are seeing that it is coming out. But what they don't seem to be seeing yet is from which direction it will come out. That is our assignment. The assignment of the people of the Southern Cameroons is to get the world to know, to understand that we have our eyes on our independence, and it is only there that our focus is. By the time we are able to stop all the side fights, allow all the distractions to simmer, let them fall off and everything, and we focus on what we are determined to get, trust me, my dear people of the Southern Cameroons, we will definitely get there. What they are doing to us, what they are saying to us, their attitude is not strange. But one thing that I want each and every one of us in the Southern Cameroons to take home, first of all, right at this early stage of this video, is that man by nature is dynamic. That is also how policies of the various countries or of the various actors on the international scene are dynamic. They are not static. He even said it himself. Today they will tell you it can't work. Tomorrow they tell you, I begin to agree with you that that is the only thing to do. I recall, take note, and go back to your archives and search. About 2 years ago, the U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé issued a statement to the Republic of Cameroon. That statement said, there are times the U.S. government recognizes the territorial integrity of Cameroon, and there are times it doesn't. And this has consequences. Interpretation? Take your time. This tells you of the evolution of thoughts, evolution of policies, and evolution in the way people look at things, depending on the things that happen, and depending at what point they are standing at a specific point in time to look at the happenings on the ground. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, this kind of utterances should be the engine that would drive our determination to get to where we want to get to. This kind of utterances should convince us that we are on the right path. And I assure you, they said the same things to the Eritreans. I've said this before. They said the same thing to the people of the Southern Sudan. I said it before. They said the same things to the people of East Timor. My dear brothers and sisters, even in apartheid South Africa, there was a time they told the black people in South Africa to accept their fate. But take note, with endurance, with determination, with the focus on their objectives, all these entities I've called ended up securing their freedoms, ended up getting exactly what they wanted. That is why I'll share with you this proverb from Buddha. They say, endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes. This is not rocket science. Endurance is very painful. You need to be very disciplined to continue to endure without seeking to betray your people because you are feeling pains. You need discipline to continue to endure without feeling like giving up when you are almost close to victory. You need to be strong, very determined to endure even when looking into the horizons, you have the feeling that the clouds are all dark. It is endurance, the painful endurance, that will give you the possibility to see the silver lining that is hiding in that dark cloud. My people of the Southern Cameroons, that is how we will make it. And I just said that it takes courage. I'm talking about courage. This is why I will say courage is not having the strength to go on. It is going on when you don't have the strength. That's what courage is. It is not about saying you have the strength to go on. That's what makes you courageous. No. Courage is going on when you don't have the strength to. This is the time, my dear people of the Southern Cameroons. Actors on the international scene will say these kind of things to see the extent, the degree of our courage to move on, the degree of our determination, the degree of our ability to look at them and say, no, I don't take no for an answer. That has been my leitmotiv. Myself, John Bako, I have never, ever gone to bed with anybody who takes no for an answer. No, to me, doesn't exist. As long as there is a possibility, I will keep exploring it until I get it. And this is the spirit, my people of the Southern Cameroons, that drove all those who came before us, battling for freedom, fighting against all odds, and noticing at some point that the entire universe was against them. Because this kind of thing, I like to take a simple biblical anecdote. Look at this. When Simon Peter sat in the boat and saw the Lord Jesus Christ walking on water and coming towards the boat, they were all afraid. And Simon said, Master, is that you? He said, yes. He said, if it is you, tell me, come, and I will come, so that I should know that it is you. And the Lord Jesus Christ said, come. Simon Peter got up and started walking on water too, and heading towards the Lord Jesus Christ. But at one point, he heard something in his ears, the sound of waves. He turned to look to the left, and he saw, waves were coming like a huge wall about to swallow him. What Simon Peter did not understand is that these waves had been there all the time he was walking and heading towards the Lord Jesus Christ. They were not able to swallow him. But because he saw and feared, he started to sink. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, all these talks from the various diplomatic missions or from various international actors are only coming to the fore because someone went to provoke them out. But we have been hearing this in private. We have been hearing this in little meetings here and there. We have been hearing this in telephone calls up and down. It doesn't mean that because it has come to the fore now, because it is now public, it is something that is new, or it is something that should tell us that it is a death sentence on us. No, come on, my dear people. This is the oil that should power our engine to get what we want. When they say it is not possible, we look for exactly what will make them soon say it is possible. Because there will come a day where the same people will sit on the table and tell you again that we are now convinced that the only way to make things work between these two entities is a two-state solution. Very early in the struggle for freedom of the people of the Southern Cameroon, that was in 2016, I watched on CNN Mr. Mo Ibrahim say the only way the situation between the Cameroons will be addressed is a two-state solution. He said it a long time ago. But that's because he's realistic. Those who are not to feel we can be frightened. They can show us something that terrorizes us and makes us feel like we should give up what we are looking for and accept anything that comes to us. William James says, acceptance of what has happened is the first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. So, in this kind of circumstance, let us not spend a lot of time trying to quarrel with the High Commissioner, trying to say, let us sap him, let us address that High Commissioner, let us pick the lessons that we can draw from what he said. That is the wisdom that I'm bringing to share with us here today. That is what will guide us. That is what will power us. That is what will move us forward. That is what will make us understand that the current strategy that we are using may not be the best. That perhaps we need to go back to the drawing board, work back our things and ask ourselves, let us evaluate where have we gone wrong and what can we do to make it right. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, we are facing an opponent that is specialized in divide and rule. La République du Cameroon did not just get up one morning and pick divide and rule from the gutters and started using it. No. The entire colonial experience of La République du Cameroon with France has been one of divide and rule. That's exactly what the French have done to keep all French-speaking sub-Saharan African countries underdeveloped. Divide and rule. So, my dear people, you ask yourself, you want to know why we are as divided as we are? Because we are facing an opponent whose only weapon, whose only hope for success is that we should remain divided. The moment we will be able to understand the need to overcome this challenge of division, we will start moving as faster as we were moving from the start. Because at the start, we were not divided. Somewhere in the middle, we started getting divided. At this point in time, we are so divided But this division at some point has actually been a blessing. But my dear brothers and sisters, it is time to see how much of a blessing this division is going to continue to be. These are the kind of things that we should address right now. These are the kind of things that discourses like this ones from the Canadian High Commissioner to La République du Cameroon should provoke in us. We sit down, we ask ourselves, what are we doing right? What are we not doing right? How can we address this thing? And then we go on out there and woof, we'll be able to resolve it. Now, look at this. I've had occasion to talk to our people of the Southern Cameroons about this Swiss initiative. I like to say it again here, very triumphantly, my dear people. My name is John, perhaps not by design, because I talk of John the Baptist. That's the voice of someone screaming in the wilderness. I have screamed and screamed and screamed sometimes in the wilderness, I should say so. And people look at it as if it's a joke. Some say he is opposing this because it came from that person, that or that person. My people of the Southern Cameroons, go to my YouTube channel. Search for the video I published on the 1st of February 2019. That video was published even before the Swiss came in. At that time, I never knew they were even so close. But that piece of information was given to me from within the government of La République du Cameroon. You want to know why? You want to know why they told me right at that time that the French were going to come to us through a proxy? And that is the title of that video I published at that time, on the 1st of February 2019. At that time, nobody was talking Swiss initiative or Swiss process because it was not yet here. Nobody knew about it. I hadn't even known at that time that anyone had written to the Swiss embassy in Yaoundé. But this information came to me from within the system, and I was told that the French were going to use the Swiss as a proxy. And the objective, simply to get us into understanding that our search for independence is futile, that our desire to get self-determination is going to hit a big rock, because they'll try to let us see that Leviathan, that monster that is before us, and that will make it impossible for us to get there. So that will frighten us to accepting anything that is thrown at us at any time. Just take a look at it. Christian Cardinal Toomey conducted a survey. 69% of those who participated in that survey on the territory said they wanted absolute, total independence, complete independence, and wanted to have nothing to do with La République du Cameroon. How many years after, we have had another survey, conducted this time by the Coalition on Dialogue and Negotiations. 86%, it has gone crescendo, 86% say it is total independence. And the curious and most interesting thing is that more people participated in that survey on the territory in the Cameroons, more than they did in the diaspora. And that is the result, 86%. What does this tell you? And I want to shock you by letting you know, by dint of having worked in that system for 19 good years and knowing a lot of people, both in high and low places, I am still open to a good lot of these people. That's why they tell me the things that they say. And I want to let you know, all of us Southern Cameroonians, that at least 98% of all those Southern Cameroonians still working in the public service of La République du Cameroon want this independence more than you and I. They do. I mean, they want this independence more than you and I. Don't be shocked that they might even make up to 95% of those who participated in this survey online. That was conducted by SurveyMonkey. So what does this tell you? That these people, by day and by night, are in pains, but they stay where they are because they have to be there at this point in time. They want this independence more than you and I. That is why they tell us those things. That's why they told me this thing, just like now. They drew my attention again to this, that the Swiss government is operating through two agents regarding this mediation initiative. Two, they have one, the Swiss HD, which is in charge of operating mainly with movements that have boots on the ground, that have boots on the ground. And then there is Swiss Peace, whose role is working with the civil societies. And that Swiss Peace has been in La République du Cameroon for a good number of months now. But Swiss Peace is working mainly with the civil society on the side of La République du Cameroon. They haven't crossed yet to the Southern Cameroons. And you ask yourself, at the end of the day, what is on the table on offer for us? When I looked at the kind of training they started giving, and I came out to point to the people of the Southern Cameroons, that this is what is called in international cycles, grooming the victim to accept an unfortunate fate. I don't want to break or discourage anyone regarding that initiative. My people of the Southern Cameroons, the one thing we need to learn each time a diplomat or an actor on the international scene makes a remark concerning the situation in the Southern Cameroons is that we should draw the strength from all those utterances. There is never a day that power will be relinquished just like that. That will pick power and give you on a platter of gold. There is never a day that freedom will just be handed to you like that by someone who is living a lot of the time off your efforts, off your sweat, off your energy. Just the other day, I have the list with me here. Because when I say it, you may think it's a laughing matter. This is the list I have with me here. This list is the list of those who were to benefit as youths, purportedly from what they call Northwest region, from the Ministry of Youth Affairs, within the framework of something they call the empowerment of youths to overcome, challenges and create jobs and things like that. But this list, I talked about it the other day, that a good majority of those whose names featured on this list were not of Southern Cameroon's extractions. Don't live in Southern Cameroons. Don't live in Bamenda. They just had to come in and cut the money and go. And we had even those what we call sometimes enablers. Those who are, those impostor mayors that we didn't elect. They, at least this time, though agents of that system, had to stand up and say, no. This is extremely horrible right now. We can't accept even this one. So, my dear people, we have to keep reminding ourselves and encouraging ourselves to understand that the only way we continue to function and speak as loud as the system will be able to hear. That is how we will be able to make